So you may have seen me using a hashtag recently in one of my posts, and I forget where I made it exactly, probably Facebook, probably mirrored it on Twitter, and have probably used it once or twice. In fact, I think I did. I created a category at my blog. Anyway, it's deauthorize the media, hashtag deauthorize the media. And I thought I should explain what I mean by that because it's a little ambiguous, to say the least. What I mean by deauthorizing the media is to regard the media as an institution of people who are no better than you or I at doing the job of covering the news and developing and dictating national and international narratives, and in many cases local narratives. You know, when social media or when the web itself took off, there was this entire debate over, well, now that everybody was going to be able to be a reporter, didn't it call into question the value of separating the real reporters from the amateurs? I mean, how successful and relevant was media going to be if average people could find a soapbox or develop a blog or go on YouTube or go on Twitter or whatever? How valuable and significant was the media going to be if people, if anybody, could lay claim to being a broadcaster? And what strikes me about that phraseology is that you can turn that around. Whoever said that journalists, whoever said that the people who sit on the other side of the nightly news screen on cable news networks, anchoring, corresponding, whoever said that those individuals were anything other than people? Now that we have this wider option for communicating, and mainly to each other through social media and through the web, it's not become more evident how valuable those people are, but it's become more evident how people those people are, how they're subject to the same petty whims, to the same drive for ratings driving content, how narcissistic they are, as I am, as anybody behind a microphone or behind a blog post or behind any creation that they want people to consider valuable. They're no different. So when I say deauthorize the media, I'm talking about bringing the concept of the media eye level with humanity in general. And I think that the internet age and the web age and the social media age, and soon the web 3.0, however you define that, that's a little open, is going to give us that chance to redefine what we consider valuable information. Now, when I say deauthorize the media, I don't mean hate the media. My God, love them. And by the way, it also doesn't mean devalue the media, because there are certain things that they have the apparatus and the machinery and experience to collect and convey and disseminate that individuals don't have, access being number one. That's both a virtue of the mainstream media, but it's also one of the criticisms of the mainstream media, because they are the assigned gatekeepers, okay? Not just the news element either, but also the programming and the editorial output that the mainstream media generates. They are the gatekeepers of the perimeters of morality, of policy, of the argument that you wake up to every morning There's like 5 arguments you carry in your head every day. Most of them are generated by the mainstream media that you collect in little bits in their well-sponsored headlines or in that little background noise on the radio. They're constantly filling you in with these subliminal narratives that you take to heart and then project your own abilities and insecurities through. But it's okay to look at the people and the producers and the dynamics and the business of all that, and finally come to the conclusion for yourself that although they're valuable, just like you are valuable, just like I am valuable, that they aren't exceptional. If you can get yourself to that level, then you can truly begin to deauthorize the media. And you know, I would say for purposes of propagation of this concept, I would say, yeah, sure, embarrass them a little bit. Mockery doesn't hurt. Go ahead and do it. I mean, every day you're being woken up to the same narratives that talentless producers promote and repeat because they simply don't have the, I won't say courage. They have courage. Everybody who becomes a journalist, including ground journalists, like somebody like myself might consider, but everybody who considers themselves a journalist has in them this sort of burning desire to get to the truth to some degree, and some capacity to virtuously gatekeep and promote honesty and transparency. But the fact of the matter is, the mainstream media is what we would call, well, you know how like in every country we don't like, you know, if it's socialist or it's communist or somehow adversarial to us, we always interpret their media as something inauthentic to the people that they're broadcasting to. And of course, I always think back to my day because I was born in the 60s and absorbed a lot of the nationalistic propaganda, the Soviet Union. So they had the state media. But no one ever says that we have the corporate state media. I've seen it like recently in the past 2 years where satirically it's been used in documentaries and so forth, but it really is true. We're at the behest of news organizations that are so big and so powerful and so capricious that, I don't know, you know, you pay somebody to sit in front of an anchor desk like $300,000 like a month or $400,000 a month or whatever it is that these anchors get, because they're not so much the journalist as they are the go along with the flow, and that's your actual talent. You can be the anchor, you can talk to millions of people, you can be this Mr. Wonderful or Mrs. Wonderful, but just understand that nobody deserves $300,000 to sit in a chair and do what I'm sitting in this chair right now. There's no special talent. Or let me put it this way. If there is a special talent to doing that that's worth $300,000 a month or a week or whatever they're getting paid, if there is a special talent to that, it's not a talent that you or I couldn't develop 5 days into doing it. It's not that special. So that should knock down the profession of the man or the woman who's being paid that much money to not be the communicator, but to be the gatekeeper, to not ask the questions that get to the essence of a debate. And I'll probably, in these future vlogs, I'm going to throw a couple of examples about that as I spot them in the media. I'm going to try to do what I can to capture headlines as they infuriate me. And then pass them along to you with my analysis of exactly how they violate the premise of honest and equitable communication. But the point of this video was simply to introduce you to the hashtag #deauthorizethemedia. Stop looking at them as exceptional authorities and find these very specific ways to do that for yourself. Consider that, I don't know, God bless them. These poor people, they start out in the media industry and they're paid like $30,000 a year to be not only the broadcaster in shivering weather, but also the person who has to edit and produce and get that content in and then fly off to the next one. That person who winds up on your TV screen at first and for a long time, if they're not in an exceptional market, is making somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 a year at best, these poor people. So consider that, just materially, they're not exceptional people, and it's not an exceptional industry. It's only been crafted that way because for so long we've had these really narrow channels, and we'll just go back to the cliche of 3 networks, all right, for, I don't know, 30 or 50 years. It's only that way because that power being compressed through those 3 very narrow channels has been the long-standing reality for so long that we just assume that they're authoritative and that there's something prestigious about it. And although they aren't prestigious, and although I would like to see us all authorize them in our heads, we don't want to hate them. They're not hateable. And I think I made that clear earlier in my video. I'm going to have to rewind to find out because I'm going a little bit off on a tangent here. So in doing so, though, I want to make sure that I spend a little time on this. The media and its people are not something to hate. I said it before, it has its place. It's just a matter of, deauthorizing is a matter of simply keeping the media in perspective and recognizing that you are as powerful. So, at the risk of beating a dead horse, I want to thank you for listening to this rant. I don't know where this rant's going to wind up. It may just wind up rotting on my hard drive. But I felt like I had to explain what the hashtag is, how I'm going to promote the hashtag in 2022, and at least get a debate going and conversations going, and hopefully make the world a better place for it in recognizing the perspective and the value of everyone. And real quick, let me just throw this in here because I'm going to cover it in future vlogs as well. There is a war between mainstream media, the legacy media, and social media because every time that the mainstream media can amplify or push a report about some dishonest fundamental nature or vulnerability of social media, it just makes them a little more powerful and reminds you of their commodity status. And that's really the goal of reaching into some of the reports that they come out with against social media. Social media does have its problems, but the goal, I think, strategically among the mainstream media entities is to somehow underscore all those problems while leaving behind the hypocrisy and the examples of their own fallibilities. I mean, how many times has CNN come on, with a story that is clearly meant to divide and to, it's TV, cable TV, but they have a website and really they are going digital now. So to generate clickbait, right? They are agents of misinformation calling the kettle black, but they don't include that in their analysis or their stories or their coverage of all the fallibilities of social media. And then fundamental to that, the web or the internet communication, people talking to each other freely. So that's something I think is a very important facet to keep an eye on. And it's worth its own video, and again, another set of examples as I can call them together. But again, I'm going to end this video now. I promised to, and thank you for watching.